This is a little bit heavier of a video than what we're used to on this channel. But this is I used to and this actually did happen to me. I guess I could start off by telling you what this is not going to be and what you're not to expect. This has nothing to do with sexual abuse. This is nothing physical per se. Kind of is, but not the way one would expect. This was much more of a psychological abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, manipulative behavior, manipulative abuse, kind of bullying also, from adult to child, from teacher to student. I guess body shaming was a main thing too. Yeah, it's that kind of video. So let's dive right in, shall we? I used to, September 9th, 2004. Today I have once again been annoyed and embarrassed by the PE teacher. No offense, but I hate him. Can't he bother someone else? Like another student or something? Hasn't he noticed that almost all the popular kids get killed? And I thought I wasn't gonna have an enemy this year. Even my friend hates him. I see why. I don't know why, but it always happens. I always have an enemy. Usually it's always been students, but this time it's the PE teacher. Who would know? A teacher being the enemy of a student. Well, less about the PE teacher. Now people are saying that Hurricane Ivan is gonna hit Florida. To tell you the truth, I want it to come for one reason. I won't have to go to school and have to stand that PE teacher. He's even giving me nightmares. So this story begins in 2004. It was the beginning of the school year, so I must have still been 10, turning 11 that year in October. So I was 10 years old. I want to say I was maybe in 5th grade. I was in either 5th or 6th grade. I want to lean towards 5th grade, maybe more towards 6th grade. I don't know, one of those two grades. I was 10 years old, turning 11, and my school kind of would fluctuate through PE teachers. That's physical education. PE stands for physical education, where you're educated on how to be physical. We would fluctuate through a lot of PE teachers. Like every year was a different one. In my head, since I was a Harry Potter fan, PE class was cursed, just like Defense Against the Dark Arts was cursed in Harry Potter. And in my head, they would always fluctuate through the teachers because the class was cursed. And we never had a solid PE teacher that would be there for a while. This year we had one who called himself Coach. And we're just going to call him Coach because I honestly don't even remember his name. I think it started with a name. I don't know. This man was bald, white, would always wear tracksuits.
Local adrenaline.
And he was also the karate teacher. I think up to that point, he had already been the karate teacher. But this year, he stepped into the role of also being the PE teacher. A little bit of backstory from me now. I was always a good student. I was always an A+ student. I would study a lot. I would get straight A's. I was also the fat kid. Not the fattest kid, just the fat kid. And I wouldn't really get picked on for it. I don't know. I don't remember ever being laughed at for being fat. I was self-conscious about it, yes, but I also didn't care about it so much. Like, it wasn't It wasn't the forefront of my life. It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm fat. Not that I remember, at least. Maybe I have some psychological things to uncover. Maybe I should be talking to a therapist about this. There's an idea. But hey, this is free. And I might get paid for it. So I was the fat nerd, basically. I had glasses. I was chubby. I was not at all sporty. I was a little kid too, so it was easy to pick on me. But I don't know. I wasn't really picked on a whole lot. Until this PE teacher showed up. Now, I don't know what was up this guy's ass. I don't know if he was obsessed with me. I literally do not know. Up to this point in my life, I had always been on good terms with every teacher, even the PE teacher. Even though I wasn't in the best physical shape that a 10-year-old could possibly be in, I still had fun in PE. I still played sports when I had to. I still did the exercises when I had to. It's not like I sat out and like was bad. I was just fat. I was a fat little bitch. Okay, wait, I was 10 years old. Stop. So this guy comes along and I guess he saw, I don't know. I'm projecting right now. Maybe he saw himself in me. Maybe he saw himself in a younger version. I don't know. Point is, he started taking a little too much attention towards me. He started putting a little bit too much attention towards me. It was weird, sis. It was weird. Now, mind you, I was a little kid, so I didn't really know my sexuality just yet. Not to say that you can't be a little kid and know your sexuality. There's a lot of gay little kids out there. But at the time, I thought I was straight. Thought being the key word here, no one else thought this. It was just me. I was the one living in a little bubble of delusion. I still am, just a different bubble. I have memories of this man asking me questions in front of other kids about my body. And I also remember him asking questions about my grades. And I said, well, yeah, I get straight A's. I've just always have. I'm a good student. I'm a student. I was always a good student. So I would always be on the good side of pretty much every teacher. And I still kind of am like that. Like, even until college, I would be friends with teachers. In fact, my mentor, who started off as my college professor in the theater department, and now she's my mentor, and like, we go back and forth. I house sit for her even. I'm that student, okay? I'm that student. I house sit for my professors. So I never really had a teacher be my enemy. And I had never had a weird experience with a teacher before then, except for one instance that I just remembered right now. 16th of September, 2004. I kicked the ball over the roof and it didn't come back down. Usually the coach, Gurr, would bench me, but he didn't. Because I had too many A's. That was unfair. So there was one time in 4th grade, I don't remember if it was 3rd grade or 4th grade, it may have even been 2nd grade. I don't remember. I know I was a much, much younger kid. There was this one teacher that I had. She was all right, but there was one day when she was walking around the class while we were doing our work, and she went up to me and she looked at my work and she pointed at one thing and said, this plus this equals this, and I was wrong, and she said, do it again. She pushed her hand on my head and like shoved my head down. It didn't slam onto the desk, but it was still much more physical than I was used to a teacher interacting with me. So naturally, I cried a little bit in my seat because I was a little kid. I was sad. And when I went home, I told my mom, and she went off on the principal. And I'm surprised they didn't fire her. They didn't fire that woman. Now, I'm pointing this out because this particular PE teacher never touched me. But this dude traumatized me. The things that he would do were insidious to the point where he would target me for little things and make me feel, I don't know, pointed out. There was this thing that the school would do called field day, where one Thursday of the month, I don't remember which one, second maybe, a Thursday in the month, we would spend most of the day outside playing sports. Like it was a whole thing. There was one day when we were playing kickball and I kicked the ball and another kid caught it and I got out. Whatever, big deal, it happens. This coach made me do 10 push-ups in front of everyone. Now, mind you, I was 10 years old. I was chubby. I was fat. I was a fat bitch. Again, 10 years old. What is wrong with me? I was fat, okay? I wasn't used to doing push-ups, especially not in front of people. So this was very embarrassing for me. I was very, very embarrassed. I was like, why are you making me do this in front of people? And I remember after that, somebody else got caught out and he didn't make them do 10 push-ups in front of everyone. It was just me. And people complained about it. It wasn't just me complaining about it. Others had pointed it out too. Other people were seeing that I was getting picked on by this teacher, by this grown-ass man. I remember one time also, I'm talking scriptless over here, by the way, so don't mind my rambling. This was before class started. He made me spell a word. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can spell a word. I don't know. I guess he wanted to test my smarts. This isn't your job, dude. Just teach PE. Just have us play sports for the next hour or so and let me go on with the rest of my day and the rest of my life. I remember another time, this would all happen before the class started. He would talk to me about things. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Stop talking to me. He would talk to me about my grades and my classes. It's like, why are you talking to me? I want to talk to my friends. I had friends back then. Can you believe? Wow. Oh, and that's another thing, by the way. I wasn't popular. I just had friends. There was no such thing as popularity in this school per se. It was a tiny school. I also forgot to mention, this was a tiny, tiny, tiny private school. Fit in a house. It was a very close-knit school. There wasn't a whole lot of bullying going on. I imagine it must have at some point. I don't really remember. There was also another instance where another field day happened. It was either a field day or a regular PE class. I don't really remember. But I do remember that I had kicked the ball and it went over the roof. I actually didn't remember this event happening, but I remembered it by reading this lovely archive of a little journal. I kicked the ball over the roof, and normally the coach would have benched me, or the PE teacher would have said, okay, you're out of the game, sit down, sit this one out, sweetie. Don't kick any more balls over the fucking roof, bitch. These cost money, and we're not gonna charge you because you're 10 years old, but sit this one out, right? Get your gay foot out of this fucking game, ho. Normally, I would have been out of the game. He would have gotten me out of the game. That's it. But no. I had too many A's. The fuck did that have to do with playing a sport? The fuck did that have to do with kicking a ball over the roof? I even wrote in my journal, that was unfair. And it was. I'm pretty sure everybody else said the same thing. I was like, what the fuck? Sit me down. Dumb fuck. I probably kicked it over the fucking roof on purpose. So I would stop playing so he could stop fucking fixating on me. That's another thing. He would shout out unnecessary quips at me. Not anybody else. Just me. There was one time there was something going on with football. And I have it ingrained in my fucking head. This man screaming, catch the ball! It's ingrained in my fucking head. And I hate him for it. Oh, but all of that was nothing compared to what I believe was his biggest overstep of all. September 10th, 2004. Today the PE teacher didn't do anything, but I'm still losing my patience with him. So remember how I said that he was also the karate teacher? Well, one day he had the grand idea of offering me a free class, a free after school karate class that I had to go to. Yeah, this man forced me to go to a karate class outside of my regular curricular activities that I didn't want to go to. But I was 10 years old, so I saw this authority figure saying, "You have to do it." And I said, "Okay, I will do it." I'm thinking back on it now and I'm seeing this could have been a lot worse. Because when you consider that this particular school had 3 separate buildings in which it operated, all along the same streets, and the karate class would happen not in the main building, but in the daycare all the way over here. Him and his little karate acolytes would walk down the sidewalk to that daycare. It could have been much worse. It could have been that after that karate class, I stayed, or he made me stay, and worse things could have happened. Much worse things. I think the only saving grace that I had was that in between these two preschool buildings that were alongside this main building over here, there was an apartment building, and that apartment building was where my grandma lived, and I would walk from her apartment building to school and back every day. And see, since I would walk to school and back, I think that's where he thought, no one picks this kid up from school. I know. I'll sequester him. I'll harangue him into my class with a non-refundable, non-negotiable, free karate class. Yeah, that'll get him to like me. That'll do it. That'll get this little fat kid to stop being so fat. Sweetie, fuck you. God, I hope he's watching this. Fuck you, asshole. So I thought, as a 10-year-old child, looking at this very tall, bald man, he must have been in his 30s-ish. I want to say 30s. I forgot to mention that. He wasn't like 40s or 50s. He was like late 20s, early 30s, maybe around there. So I was like, okay, I'll go. What's the worst that can happen, right? Maybe I'll end up liking it, thought little 10-year-old me. Maybe I'll end up liking it. Maybe I'll go to karate, and maybe I'll learn a move or two. I'll put 'em up. Yeah, see? Put 'em up, see? You want to know what this man did? This old-ass man. This old-ass karate teacher did to a brand new student who barely fought his gay thoughts. You want to know what he did? He put this fresh green little sproutling of a being up against a kid who, yes, was younger than me, was much smaller than me, but he was much more experienced than me. This kid had like a yellow belt or a brown belt. It was a belt. I don't know. It was a color. Point is, this kid had a belt. I had no belt. My belt barely fit me because I was fat. I'm kidding. It fit me. I actually still wear my belt. I didn't have a belt. I didn't have any experience fighting or karate. So I just stood there and he put me up against this little kid. And this little kid, listen, bless his heart, I don't remember his name. I just know he's Cindy's brother. If you're watching this, weird, but hi. Great karate skills when you were a kid. Holy shit, this was not your fault, child, okay? This was not your fault. Obviously, you were trained from a very young age to pick somebody up knock him over and put him in a chokehold. So that's exactly what he did to me. Duh! And then the karate teacher had the gall, the balls, the cojones, the nerve to say, this little kid knocked you over and put you in a chokehold in 2 seconds. Look at your face. You're all red. You're turning red. You have high blood pressure. I don't know what I said to this man. I don't know if I said anything. I was 10. I was livid. I was probably turning red from anger at this man. So he had me sit out the rest of the class and watch. I don't remember if I did homework. I probably did homework while this was going on because I didn't want to be there. So then I went home and my poor grandmother, she was like, where is my grandson? I come home and I explain to her everything and she's like, wow. I actually don't remember what she said, but bless her heart, she was like, what the fuck? So that was my experience, my one and only experience with karate. And if you've ever done karate, listen, good on you. It was never my cup of tea. But I had the misfortune of having to interact with this man who was just, at the very least, an irresponsible teacher. And at the very most, a manipulative, abusive predator preying on a 10-year-old boy. For what? Being fat? Being smart? Having glasses? It got to a point where I live in Florida. We get a lot of hurricanes. I would pray that a hurricane would come to Florida just so that schools would close so that I wouldn't have to see this man. And so I wouldn't have to deal with this man. I told my mom that. I told my parents that. And then they went to the principal. 17th of September. Today, I have news. Good news. The PE teacher announced that next week would be his last day as coach, but he will still be teaching karate. Boo-hoo. Yes. Oh, boo-hoo. Yes. Well, that's all for today. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Yes. Now, I don't want to make it sound like my parents were negligent or anything. They really weren't. I just hadn't told them everything that had been happening. And when I did, that's when they went to the principal's office. I was 10 years old, but I was also kind of self-conscious because it's like, is anyone going to believe me? This is a teacher, after all. I'm the student. I'm used to hearing the stories of students being all like, oh, this teacher's obsessed with me. This teacher's out to get me, blah, blah, blah. And parents never believe. The other teachers never believe. Or like usually it's the bad kids that are like, oh, that teacher's out to get me. But like, no, you're actually just an ill-behaved child. So I thought that was going to be the same thing until it got to a point where I just couldn't fucking take it anymore. This man was literally giving me nightmares. This man was psychologically tormenting me. And then my parents went to the office. I don't remember specifically what happened because I wasn't in the office when they spoke, but I'm pretty sure the PE teacher was involved in the office with my parents and with the principal. I don't remember being there. I might have been, but I don't remember. Sorry, I was 10 years old. I'm 27 now. Ew. Long story short, after that happens, he gets demoted. He's no longer the PE teacher. Yay! What a fucking blessing. I'm telling you, it's like I enjoyed PE all over again. I was the happiest little camper. I could do what I wanted. I didn't have this man breathing on my freaking neck telling me what to do. Fuck, it was annoying. But he was still the karate teacher. And you know how like karate classes and stuff, they do their like little expose with the belts and like they do the the thing. They do this like whole expose thing, right? Where like the teachers even show off their moves and whatever. I don't know. They were doing this one time outside on the same playing field where they do where they did the field day. And he had this thing where he smashed a piece of wood in half. Wow, right? He then, in front of everybody, dramatically, slowly, walked up to me and gave me the pieces of wood. Why? I was so confused. Everybody around me was so confused. I'm not your student. I'm not your student. I'm not your person. I'm not your pupil. Your apprentice. Your experiment, your project. I'm just a child. I'm hoping y'all are seeing just how weird that was. Because I was weirded out. Everybody around me was weirded out. Everybody was just like, what is wrong with this dude? What is wrong with this man? Yeah, not long after that, he stopped being the karate teacher too. And they just stopped doing karate at the school. And I never heard from him again. The end. 21st of September. Yesterday and today, mostly yesterday, were probably the best days I've ever had in my entire life. 2 words. I'm free. Hooray! Hooray! Ding dong, the PE teacher is gone for good. Boy, wasn't that a great story, y'all? God, takes me back to the moments of being traumatized as a child, you know, having nightmares caused by an adult man who had no business in meddling with a child's affairs or haranguing them into free karate classes that they didn't want to do. Memories. So all in all, what's the lesson here? Adults, stop messing with children, please. It's weird. It's always been weird. Stop trying to get kids to do things they don't want to do or be things they don't want to be. I didn't care about being a fat little kid. I just didn't. I didn't care. And you know what? Over time, as an adult, I learned to care. But it wasn't because of him. It wasn't because of people that would tease me and tell me that I was fat. It wasn't about anybody else but me. It was all me. It took me to want to learn, to want to change, to want to grow out of where I once was into who I am now. So stop forcing kids to do things, please. And kids, if you're watching this and you have an abusive teacher, emotionally or physically or psychologically or sexually or mentally, please tell an adult. Tell an adult. Tell an adult. Tell an adult. You don't have to be going through stress. You don't have to be stressed out as a 10-year-old or 12-year-old or 8-year-old or whatever year old. You shouldn't be stressed because of an adult. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. And I hope you haven't had any experiences. I mean, I feel like a lot of us have had experiences with adults, whether it's a teacher or a parent or some other adults in our lives. And I can only hope that the effect that they had on us is something that we can grow from and away from. And is something that doesn't still affect us to this day. This man doesn't affect me anymore. Although I will admit, when I was talking to my boyfriend about him the other day, I was like remembering these things. These things were just coming up in conversation. I have like a weird feeling in the pit of my stomach just remembering this now. And it's weird. It's weird that these things happen. And at the time, you don't really think about it because, again, you're a child. But now as an adult, I'm like, this could have been much, much worse. And even still, what it was weird. What it was still way too far. And if you're watching this right now, Coach, I can only hope you never did this to any other child again. Because, like I said, it could have been much worse on your part, but it could have also been much worse on my part. I could have taken these things to a much worse extreme. And I could have either dealt with them the way that I did or not. So, this may have been a little bit of a downer of a video, but again, I am a perfectly well-adjusted adult.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get in.
Thank you so much for watching until the end. I appreciate you hearing my story. And if you have a story of your own that you would like to share, I've got a comment section down below, or if you want to make a video about it, I will watch it. Go ahead and link me to it if you want to tell your story. If not, don't feel obliged. If you liked this video, maybe not so much the, subject matter of the video, but if you liked the video itself, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. And if you didn't, that's fine. Go ahead and leave a thumbs down. We appreciate honesty in this house. If you like my videos, go ahead and subscribe. I've got plenty more to come. And if you're subscribed, don't forget to hit the bell notification. Very important. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I've got those linked down below and down in the description as well. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you on the next installment of I Used to, where I talk about how I used to, 16th of August, 2005. Today I discovered that the new PE teacher, Mr. Suarez, also teaches math to the little kids. Don't worry, he's nice. Not like the coach. Grr. That's all.